Okay, you guys at Wellness Babe Creations, and we're back with Sandeep. I'm so excited to actually continue our conversation. If you guys have tuned in to the previous recordings, then you will hear about us talking about consciousness, and we talked about how this shows up in our personal life or in life in general. But most importantly now, on this segment today, we'd like to talk to you guys about how this shows up in the business world, in the transactional realm, where a lot of people feel or tend to feel very uncomfortable doing transactions, doing sales. They've got this bad juju going on, that money is a bad thing, and I don't want to really sell, I don't want to be pushy. And how does this work in the world of entrepreneurialism and in business? Because we have a lot of businesses serving us, as I am serving my clientele, and Sandeep is serving his clientele of many thousands of people. And we want to cause a ripple of wellness with our knowledge and expertise in a certain matter. I mean, we can be shy about that, right? So, but I have discovered that many associates in my international distributorship business are very shy about sales. So Sandeep, without any further ado, as your consciousness expert, as someone you've been serving corporations and many thousands of people with this subject matter, how can we really tell to our viewers, our listeners, about consciousness and spirituality, and why is this so important in business? What is your take on this?
If you ask me, spirituality and consciousness are extremely important. Like, what is a compass to a ship on high sea is what consciousness to human life, and business is a part of human life. What is the power generated by the engine of a car through the car? Consciousness is to the quality, or let's say the quality of consciousness is the quality to the decisions we make. In my experience, I've found a lot of businessmen, saying, oh, no, this is spiritual, we're not interested, or okay, no spirituality. Probably, they are not probably, they're definitely under a wrong impression or a misconception. They don't understand. So let me try and first demystify and then get down to the business angle, okay? There are three words: the spirit, spiritual, and spirituality. Now, everyone agrees that spirit is the soul, and the soul is the driver of human life. Now, whatever contains the spirit becomes spiritual, because the spirit comes with its own qualities, and those qualities get absorbed by the container. So now, since the spirit is in the human frame, so the human frame is spiritual. And what is spirituality? Spirituality is nothing else but living the qualities of the spirit, living by the attributes of the spirit, or trying to unleash the attributes by the spirit. It has got nothing to do with religion. Spirituality can exist and is independent of religion. Religion cannot exist and is not independent of spirituality. So I think, I've been able to demystify that spirituality has got nothing to do with religion. Spirituality has got everything to do with our day-to-day life, which includes business. And when I say living from the higher self, or the values of the spirit. What do I mean? Living by love, living by respect, living by mutuality. Okay, now coming to business. If I ask you what is business, I'm sure most of you would say sale, purchase, making money. Yes, that is true, but that's only the external dimension of business. Everything in life has got two dimensions, the external and the internal. So what is that internal dimension which is driving the external dimension? And remember, guys, it's the invisible, that's the internal which drives the external or the visible, right? So what is that internal dimension? That internal dimension is a relationship between three sets of people, the owners who set up the business. Set number one. Set number two, the people who work for the owners. And set number three, the people who consume the services or the product produced by the business. It's the relationship. Again, let me ask you one thing. If you go to a particular shop, the shopkeeper misbehaves with you, would you like to go back to that person?
No. Indeed, imagine this, that there's this beautiful spiritual store here in BC. And I love that store. And every time I cross with the ferry, I make a point to go to that store. And this one time, I had one of those people in the store. And I walked out and I didn't buy anything.
Well, thank you, Oshi, for supporting this thing and sharing a live example. So it's the relationship. If the boss, misbehaves with these workers, the workers leave. The boss doesn't pay, the workers leave. So it's that relationship. Now, since this is a human relationship, so whatever applies to human beings also equally applies to business. So you got to understand business in a larger perspective, in a larger thing. What is driving the sale, purchase, making money, top line, bottom line, and all that stuff? Yes, that is important, but that is the non-life stuff. The life stuff of the business is the relationship. Now, let's look at how businesses have changed over the years. You see, the 20th century was the century where massive industrialization took place. It was a century driven by machines, by procedures, by SOPs, and people were trained not to think. They were trained to stand on the machines and just do what their supervisor has told them. Then came the internet, and today we are living in the world or the economy of people. We are living in a people's age, knowledge age. And obviously you can't treat people like machines. And from the business angle, what difference has come in? Now, sales is a very important part of business. In the 20th century, the 4 Ps, and I'm sure you must have heard it. And what were the 4 Ps? Product, price, placement, and promotion was sufficient to sell. The thinking was, how do I sell and what do I sell? But now in the people's economy, in the people's age, the 4 Ps have got suffused by 4 Es. Now, what are those 4 Es? Emotions, engagement, experience, and exclusiveness.
Awesome. Love it.
What Oshi, she just shared with you was an experience. Experience was not good. She walked out. So there was no business for that store. Today, as business people, we got to think, why do I sell? Not what do I sell and how do I sell? It is more like, why do I sell? And with why comes the element of providing service to the customer. Because sales is not a mere transaction of handing over certain services or product and taking money in return. Sales also has an element of servicing, of providing value to the client. And when can you provide value to the client? When you start looking beyond yourself, to go beyond your ego, when can you provide help to the other person? When can you serve the other person? When can you provide solutions to the other person? For all these things, you've got to go behind your greed. You've got to go beyond your anger, your obsession, your attachments, your egos. And what does consciousness or what does spirituality do? They help you to go beyond these things.
It's so interesting because I've always been, well, in the first 20 years of my career in law, you know, one would argue that if you're a legal consultant or lawyer, you're not a salesman. Most certainly everybody has to sell themselves in a way or two. I mean, even the children do. Mom, buy me this. Daddy, can I have that? And they have a way of getting it. Actually, they're power negotiators. So while what I'm trying to say for the viewers, that, for example, I am very fortunate because I never felt icky about sales, because for me, if I really just think of the external process, that makes me feel very uncomfortable as well. So if somebody is only just operating on that external, transactional, kind of way, I suppose that that's not comfy for me. It feels like, ooh. So I never actually had done that. I always talk from the heart. And then when that happens and when that message is conveyed, I don't think that it's ever uncomfortable. Even for the other party, it's not so uncomfortable because they connect, correct?
Ocean, let me add one thing more for our listeners. You see, in the previous episode or the previous time we spoke, I had mentioned of the 4 S's, right? Seen, safety, secure, and soothed.
Mhm.
Now, even the customer wants to be seen the way he or she is. Even the customer wants you to provide a solution so for whatever the requirement of the customer is met.
Yeah.
The customer wants to feel secure that the customer can share his or her requirement with you without being judged.
Yeah.
And the customer wants to feel safe that whatever products and services you are doing will not harm the customer physically or bodily. Right. And consciousness and spirituality help us to operate from the higher level. And what is that higher level? The level of love. And what is love? Love is not the romantic thing between a man or a woman, a boy or a girl. You see, love is much, much, much deeper than that. It is a state of being. A state of being which stands on 4 legs. The legs of respect, trust, compassion, and mutuality. And believe me, businesses which have founded on the principle of love, businesses which have incorporated the principle of love in their strategy, you'll be surprised that they have outpaced the S&P 500 average and the good to great average by 10 to 15x in a period of 10 to 12 years.
Wow.
And this is empirical research done by Raj Sisodia. And there's a lot of empirical research done which says when you do business centered around love, you flourish much more. You make more money, you grow more, you are more stable, you are more consistent, you are more sustainable, and you are more credible. And spirituality and consciousness help us in doing that. So guys, like I tell all my clients, well, this is the truth. The choice is yours.
That's it. And, just like, with the, when we talk about energies and energetics and frequency, and we're talking about in this space where I operate and where I serve, we talk about frequency to the body, high frequency to the mind, high frequency to the soul. So all I believe in, I am seeing all of the groups that I know within my businesses, international groups of distributors that are really doing awesome. They're all working on their own, let's just say body, mind, soul harmonization. So that authentic alignment, that consciousness, that expansion of the mind is extremely important. And most importantly for me, I think, is we want to be ready for that expansion and that work. And then that will correlate in the 3D world to sales, to the numbers, to the money, to the happiness, because it's aligned, because it's heart-centered, because it's harmonized, because everything makes sense. And then so people connect onto the frequency, I think, much more so than the actual product. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. And while you were summing it up beautifully, what was coming to my mind was we should have one more session.
I bet you.
On connecting consciousness with Ayurveda.
Yes. And I want to say actually to my viewers, and whether they are on my channel of Wellness Wave Creations, or whether they are on my YouTube channel, Facebook page, and or Sandeep's viewers who will see this video, that I really feel that there has to be a further conversation where we could take Ayurveda and consciousness into another level and into another talk. And I think that Sandeep and I, after the recording, maybe we would just schedule that one up. It would be actually lovely to deliver that to you guys all before the holiday time. If we can put it into our schedule, then we're going to have that other further level of conversation about the knowledge of life, which is Ayurveda, and that ancient science of medicine, which is, of course, preventative and curative at the same time. And up to today, I don't believe it's been debunked or anybody has been able to argue these natural wisdoms and universal truths that Ayurveda comes with, and unarguably what spirituality and consciousness eventually amount to a much more abundant life for all of us. So without further ado, Sandeep, thank you so much. I cannot wait to actually have another one. We'll schedule it up, people. Sandeep from India, consciousness expert. Oh my God, I'm so glad that eventually through the Activation Summit, we have had our paths crossed. I'm super excited to what the future brings and all of the collaboration of the East and West, you guys. All right. So See you all on the next one. All of you out there, namaste and all the best. Thank you, Sandeep.